I've got myself a pint of ice cream here, and I'm gonna eat that, and I'm gonna watch this. Now, I want you to understand that as I said before, I am going to grade him fairly based on the things that he does, and so far, excuse me, so far, everything that I've heard on the surface seems good. Like this, all of this seems good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna sit here and we're going to react. We're gonna talk about it a little bit, but I also want to remind you before we get into this that just like other politicians have done, part of why the first time I didn't appreciate some of the stuff either was because he signed a bunch of executive orders the first time too, well, and throughout the course of his presidency, but also the first time going into office, and they seemed okay on the surface there too. But then when like some lawyer explained it, a bunch of other people that are smarter explained it, like these things are actually pretty hard to read. And they're worded, the way laws are worded and stuff like that. So on the surface, yes, it seems good, and remember, anybody can just say it does this and lie to you. So I just want to remind you, like, even though, yeah, it's transparency, this is a good thing, and it seems great, and I hope it is, they can just say it is, and it's not. I just want to remind you of that, like, it really can be that way. Also, they're supposed to submit them for public record, and they haven't done that yet. I think they have. I think they still have time. But I just want to note that they actually have not done that yet. I checked. I wanted to read them, and I could not do that. So I'm gonna eat my pint of ice cream, and we're gonna watch, and we're gonna talk about this. And again, I'm gonna grade it fairly. If what he says is truly what it is, I'm just gonna tell you, yeah, that would be good, I think, and just talk about this a little bit. So let's do that.
Implicates other executive powers as well.
Yeah?
Oh, also, I rewound here a couple of times trying to figure out what he said. I think it like started with like vocates executive power. That's where it starts. Truthfully, I have no idea what he was talking about there and what he's signing here. So.
President Trump, if the cartels are now going to be seen as foreign terror organizations, would you think about ordering U.S. Special Forces into Mexico to take them out?
Could happen. Stranger things have happened.
Okay, so the question was, would he and could he order special forces to essentially invade and go into Mexico to take care of the cartel problem, essentially for them on their soil, like essentially our troops doing that. That was the question, and Trump said could happen. Stranger things have happened.
Mr. President,
And that was actually
that Maduro would accept Venezuelans.
By the way, if presented with facts on what's actually going on, like the numbers of the cartels, how large they are, well, like the amount that they're possibly bringing in. Like, I'm just looking for ballpark and actual figures and numbers. That would actually be more transparent to me. That's transparency to me, in my opinion. Like, essentially just telling me what's going on so I know why he's doing it. That, to me, is transparency, not necessarily what he's doing. So, like, I just want you to know where I'm coming from. I want to know, like, every little detail. But But anyway, not necessarily everybody does, so I get that too.
Say it?
How will you make sure that Maduro will accept Venezuela?
Well, we're going to see on Venezuela. We're looking at Venezuela very strongly. It's a country I know very well for a lot of reasons, and well, it was a great country 20 years ago, and now it's a mess. Right?
Sir, can we expect ICE raids starting tomorrow in major cities?
What does that mean?
Can we expect ICE raids in major cities
I don't
tomorrow?
want to say when, but it's going to happen. Has to happen, or we're not going to have a country left.
This is actually an executive order
Okay, so-
designating the cartels and other.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a second, because that's actually really important. I think a lot of Americans are sort of wondering about that. Yeah, I do apologize if we're having any type of a little bit of a lag. There hasn't been. Yeah, it's actually about 2 months. There hasn't been an NVIDIA driver update for my video card for about 2 months. No lie, it was like early December, and it's starting to really bug out. So I'm just being transparent with you guys. If you see that and you're wondering like what's going on lately with like certain stuff, yeah, no driver update for like 2 months. Oh yeah, that'll happen. So anyway, the question that was asked there was about ICE raids. All right, so the question is, do you guys know what ICE raids are? Some of you might, some of you might not. ICE was a police organization established to essentially take care of, minority groups. A while back, the idea was that illegals, people that were actually here, incorrectly, not with visas and stuff like that, for too long, yada yada yada, to essentially just kick them out right away instead of letting them linger around, overlap, and such. So that I appreciate, and that's the transparency of it, is the idea is that some of them were taking advantage by, like overlaps and but the idea is that eventually some of the restrictions became looser and they were actually able to do that, was the idea. They were talking to state officials and they were giving them guidance and basically telling them that they were allowed to do that. So this is why they were doing it, and people weren't really understanding from their side of it, just like kind of like, armchair politics sort of thing. So anyway, the gist of it is that a lot of people do feel like it's overcrowded or something like that. I don't know. It's obviously not what I see, but I see it from my scope too. So anyway, ICE is a police organization that specifically deals with that, and he's talking about actually like raiding cities and deporting, just mass deporting like a ton of people. And what you have to realize is that when they did this the first time, I think it was reported that there was actually quite a bit of people that were deported that were here perfectly legally. And of course, Trump went back into a corner like that. I gotta be honest with you guys, that's when he starts lying. He starts just saying that didn't happen, that's fake news. So what you have to realize is these problems do occur, but he just sort of kind of says they're not a problem. So I just yes, he's confirming he's going to do that. He's saying it's going to happen, it's got to happen, or we won't have a country anymore. I don't necessarily agree. I don't know how that constitutes not having a country. And remember, this country was built on allowing people to come in legally and just being understanding about that, they might not understand things. And like, I don't know, you got to have wiggle room. You got to be understanding with people. You can't just suddenly deport them. That's my point. That's just how I feel. And if you disagree, these are opinions. This is how we can disagree constructively in debate, and that's okay. That actually is a debate, but a lot of the time I think it gets lost in translation. So anyway, let's keep going.
Organizations to be foreign terrorist organizations?
That's a big one.
Yes, sir.
People have wanted to do this for years.
Sorry, what was that?
Organizations to be foreign terrorist organizations?
That's a big one.
Yes.
What did he say?
Designating the cartels and other organizations to be foreign terrorist organizations?
That's a big one.
Yes, sir.
People have wanted to do this for years.
Talking about the cartels.
So they are now designated as terrorist organizations, foreign.
I think that's pretty
And,
self-explanatory. Yeah, I agree with
Mexico
that.
probably doesn't want that, but we have to do what's right. They're killing our people. They're killing 250, 300,000 American people a year, not 100.
Actually, before I agree, sorry, I'm actually gonna look something up really quick. I'm a very literal person. Eh. I actually don't know that I do agree that they're terrorists. So when we look up the definition of the word terrorism, the unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, in the pursuit of political aims. I don't see how a cartel group uses violence and intimidation for political aims. I mean, they want to sell a lot of drugs and make a lot of money, but they don't give a shit about politics. So yes, I understand treating it the same. So word it properly. Like instead of they are terrorist organizations, word the executive order properly and such that it says should be considered and treated and punishable with the law up to the same level of terrorist organizations or something like that. Like, that's what I would like. I would like it to be correct, not just, oh, they're terrorist organizations, because it's not right. It's not that's not correct. That's not a correct way to look at that. That's my take on that. But I agree with the sentiment. I do. So anyway, let's go.
Like has been reported for 15 years. It's probably 300,000.
This is an
So
executive.
you just said Mexico doesn't want that. How are you going to deal with this?
I don't know. You'll have to ask them.
Sir, this is an executive order entitled Protecting the American...
I have to say, I think that's a really stupid question. I gotta be honest. Because, like, what do you... You're asking Donald Trump what he thinks what Mexico's gonna do about... He doesn't care what Mexico thinks about this. Are you kidding me? That was just a really dumb question. I'm sorry.
People Against Invasion, which again deals with the southern border and the unprecedented admission of illegal aliens across the southern border.
That's the one. That one. Right there. Read it. Very, very, very carefully. Because right there, just stating that there's an executive order being signed that doesn't permit, quote, air quotes, illegals. Okay, you do realize that we already have laws for that. So, like, what exactly is he signing? You know, like, what? I want to know what it says, that's all. I really, really do. Because that's the point. This is what people, I think, that are looking at this in sort of, I'm not saying everybody looks at this like this. I'm just saying, like, you know, a way they shouldn't. We'll say that. We all know what I'm talking about there. And not everybody, just some people. You know, they just don't want him here, obviously. So I want to know what that says. That's all I'm saying, because what you have to realize is I'm sticking up for Don. I think maybe he did want to do the right thing the first time. And maybe through the course of watching me or other people like me that really can't stand him, he tried to figure out why. And maybe everybody around him lies to him. Maybe they all did this. Maybe it's really that corrupt in the Republican Party that they really did take advantage of him and just get him to sign everything. He went through the motions. He did everything they wanted. And now he's mad because he really thought he was doing a good job. But now he's realized he kind of didn't. And he wants to he cares. So he's trying to be transparent. He's trying to do the exact opposite of everything he did before, where it was like a stage show and stuff. Yeah, this does seem very transparent. But again, there's a lot of stuff. Now, they're not going to read every one. It's very technical, so that I do understand. But you should. So still read it. Still find out what it says. But I'm still, again, giving him the benefit of the doubt in the sense that I hope he knows every little detail that it says in each one of those. I really do.
What do you see the biggest national security threat to the U.S., Mr. President? What's going to be your priority on foreign policy?
Say?
What's going to be your priority on foreign policy? What do you see as the biggest
Well,
national
foreign
security
policy is a
threat?
big statement. I mean, my priority on foreign policy, it's going to be to keep America safe. Very simple. It's a big question, though. That's a very big question.
Who is going to be the first foreign leader that you plan to meet, or who are you going to call tomorrow?
Probably
for the first
Putin.
day?
I've already been meeting people. I've been meeting them. I've been talking to them. I met with Prime Minister Trudeau, like all Governor Trudeau. I met with numerous foreign leaders. Go ahead.
Sir,
who might be your first
this next order relates to the definition of birthright citizenship under the 14th Amendment of the United States.
Good. That's a good one. Birthright. That's a big one.
What about that one in the court? That one is likely to be.
Could be.
I want to hear what he
I
says
think we
there.
have good ground.
What is that birthright citizenship? What the hell? What does that mean?
Of birthright citizenship under the 14th Amendment of the United States.
Good.
Wait, the fort.
Go ahead.
All right, hold on. Let's very specifically read what it states. Ah, interesting. Huh. So it would almost seem as if that's an executive order to not acknowledge basic rights and privileges of the Constitution to anybody that wasn't born here. I mean, unless I'm getting that wrong, the 14th Amendment states, "No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person, yada, yada, yada." So, and they're talking about, like, a birth thing? What?
Go ahead.
Sir,
who might be your first
this next order relates to the definition of birthright citizenship under the 14th Amendment of the United States.
Good. That's a good one. Birthright. That's a big one.
Okay.
What about that one in the court? That one is likely to be.
Could be. I think we have good grounds, but you could be right. I mean, you'll find out. It's ridiculous. We're the only country in the world that does this with birthright, as you know. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. But, you know, we'll see. We have very good grounds.
Sir,
People have wanted to do this for decades.
Sir, this is a proclamation declaring a national emergency.
So
of the
he
southern
is going
border
to
of the United
deport
States.
people. Yeah, he's going to.
That's a big one. A lot of big ones, huh?
He's going to make sure.
You know what that means, right?
President Trump, did President Biden leave you a letter?
He may have. Wait. Don't they leave it on the desk? I don't know.
Oh wow.
Oh,
What's in there?
thank you, Peter. It could have been years before we found this stuff.
Wow.
Wow. Thank you.
Can you read it on the outside?
Maybe we should all read it together.
Let's read it.
Well, maybe I'll read it first and then make that
That sounds
determination.
great.
That's a better idea.
Peter, thank you very much. I may not have seen this for months.
Happy to help with the passing of the torch.
Well, I'm
I
glad.
left him one in the desk, just like.
So, I'll be honest with you. It was actually a little bit comforting to see him make a rational decision there. Throughout the course of his presidency and things he said, I was actually just more concerned that he doesn't really make rational decisions. That, like, just because of the way he views things, he typically just feels a certain way and then makes a decision. So that was good to see a rational decision, like, just made right on camera for us to see. So, again, that's actually a good thing.
What
And-
are you talking about?
Remember, he actually is older. He's close to Biden's age, actually. So, like, that's a good thing, you know? That's what I'm saying.
Unification of our country. You know, I didn't know that he gave a pardon to his family because he did it during my speech.
He didn't tell you in the limo?
No, he didn't tell me. No. He did it. They released it during my speech. I mean, during my speech. So all I could do was say, "Excuse me, I'd like to come back and speak some more."
No, alright, so here's what I'm going to say about that. Trump's been going after people. And listen, like, there's like some legitimate things that he was being tried for and stuff. That's it. So, like, it got personal with him. So he started going after people. I mean, I think Biden was just taking care of his family. And didn't Trump do the same thing? I don't know. I feel like Trump may have done the same thing. So I don't know. You have to be a little bit understanding about that, and also realize that he's using this. So, like, he probably realized he probably wasn't gonna sit here and go after Biden. He probably really wasn't. He's probably not gonna waste his time. He really wasn't. So he's gonna use this now because people, like the people that vote for him, don't really like Biden. So he's just gonna milk this for all it's worth. Anytime anybody mentions it now. So, like, I don't know. Biden should have just, like, done it like a month ago, and nobody would have remembered.
So, no, we were surprised by that. It's
Mr. President,
bad precedent, obviously.
where are you thinking on tariffs on Mexico, given these actions you're signing on the border?
Well, we're thinking in terms of 25% on Mexico and Canada because they're allowing vast numbers of people. Canada's a very bad abuser also. Vast numbers of people to come in and fentanyl to come in.
When do you think you would enact those?
I think February 1st.
Are you planning on giving notice of that?
I think we'll do it February 1st.
25% on both, sir,
Sir,
On each.
on each, yes.
this is an executive order taking a large number of executive actions to secure our southern border.
Okay?
Oh, okay.
Sounds reasonable.
So, again,
President Trump,
I want to read that one too. Because, again, a large number of executive actions to secure our border. What does that mean?
remember 4 years ago, Barack Obama had told you that the top threat to the country was going to be North Korea. Did Joe Biden tell you what he thinks the top threat to the country is
No,
right now?
no.
Why not?
I think we have a lot of them.
Okay, I don't think that's true. I feel like that's not true. I feel like Biden would have, considering everything that's going on, and that they did have a meeting in the White House, as they always do. And at least he brought up Martin Luther King Day in his speech, A365. So I feel like that's just not true. I feel like he's just saying no because he doesn't like Biden, and he knows that other people, it's popular to diss him, sort of. So I just take that with a grain of salt. Okay, the greatest threat to this country is China. I think China and North Korea. And by themselves, they're not a threat. So he's not really that concerned. They're not. I mean, it's just the truth. Okay, so. What's up, 365? Hey man, I'm just eating a pint of ice cream. We got Midnight Caramel River here. It's like chocolate, vanilla, and caramel and caramel, and I'm watching the executive orders. Yeah, just trying to get caught up on this stuff.
Right now, I think we have a lot. I think North Korea turned out to be good. I was very friendly with him. He liked me. I liked him. We got along very well. They thought that was a tremendous threat. Now, he is a nuclear power, but we got along.
You're eating M&Ms,
I
that's
think you'll
awesome.
be happy to see him coming back.
Just regular
I think he
M&Ms?
has tremendous condo capability. He's got a lot of shoreline.
Thank you, sir.
Are we going to work with countries from South America to coordinate on immigration?
About who?
About immigration in general?
This is an executive order. Sorry, sir.
I'm fine with legal immigration. I like it. We need people, and I'm absolutely fine with it. We want to have it. We need it because we're going to have a lot of companies coming in to.
Okay, so let me just stop it there for a second and remind you that I don't. Oh, peanut M&Ms? Nice. I don't think that he's actually fine with it because let's be honest. The way you legally become a citizen is exactly everything that we've been talking about, where people are here, the sanctuary cities, things like that. Like, you seek asylum by just coming here. Like, that's the point. You come here, and you have a period of time. There's a process. As long as you're doing those things, you're fine. And they have, like I said, they have become looser about some of the restrictions, but like. That's the point. That's what I want to reiterate to you is like that's a subject where it's very obvious how I'm sorry, I'm going to view it the way I see it and the way other people are looking at it too. A very white guy who very obviously feels this way. That's all. And he doesn't all right, so like case in point, he doesn't really ever have a lot of people around him that are, from other countries that very obviously just very white people around him all the time. And then anytime in the media that this comes up, he suddenly needs to have some publicity stunt where he spends some time around, some black celebrities or something like that. Like he really has done things like that. So I just want to remind you of who you're talking about that is, again, trying to claim that he really cares at all about legal immigration. I'll be honest with you, I don't think he does. I don't, and that is sort of kind of a little bit of my issue with him. A lot of these executive orders have to do with the border, more about the border, more about that. No, I want to hear more about the cartels, how you're going to do that, the executive actions for that. That sounds legit. That's your reasoning why you don't want them here, right? It was because of the drugs and stuff? Because, again, I want to remind you, people that are here technically illegally, like you're talking about, that haven't gotten their citizenship yet, it's actually good for you because they're paying taxes. They pay taxes, and they don't get any of the benefits. They don't get anything from our systems. You think they get all these help? No. They're not citizens. They don't get help. And they pay taxes. It's harder for them. They have to be really, really, really upstanding individuals. And then he's talking about just randomly deporting all of them. This is kind of the point. He doesn't get it. And he looks at it from this very, I'm sorry, but in my opinion, privileged white man point of view. Anyway, it's just at this point, once we've gotten to here, you really can't. It'd be hard to say that it looks any other way, and it is any other way because he's kind of proving it. So anyway, I again just don't think that any of that is fair, having to do with illegals deporting people and stuff. None of that's fair. The border, I can understand that, and I can understand talking about it, and I can understand the cartels, yes. Just implicitly deporting a bunch of people, though, that's how our system works, so it's not right. That's all I'm saying. That's all a lot of people are saying, too.
To avoid tariffs. You know, if you don't want tariffs, all you have to do is build your plant in the U.S. So we're going to have a lot of workers coming in, but we have to have legal immigration.
Do you have a date in mind for when you want to put in on the China tariffs that you talked about?
Which one?
60%?
No.
No, I would love it if he would work with Congress more strictly on, like, if he wants to make more coherent, strict guidelines on what it means to be legal, to be a legal citizen, and to take away certain things so it's more difficult. I got news for you. It's already really pretty difficult. Like, they have to, the average person that goes through our school system that lives here, I'll be honest with you, they answer a history question, a random trivia history question. 90-some% of them over that don't know the answer to the question. Yet all these people that have to take these tests all the time and gain citizenship, they have to know this stuff. They gotta, like, do history class and be citizens and stuff. They know more than you do. That's why a lot of them know how our country works and know exactly what they're supposed to do and know that they're supposed to be here and allowed to be here. That's kind of the point. You don't need to know that because you don't do those things, so why would you? Anyway, I think they're talking about tariffs. So a reason why you can implicitly, I want to remind you that anybody that knows about tariffs, that you know what they do, you immediately know that a tariff or anything that's going to cause some type of back and forth trade war between you and another country isn't a good thing, because simply put, we consume more than we output. So like we consume more than we actually have, more than our own resources. We need to input. So as long as that's always the case, and I got news for you, we got more people here and stuff. Now, maybe that's why he's trying to get rid of a bunch of people, so that he sees what happens and sees if that's not gonna amount to that. It's not the case. That's not enough. That will not make up for it. And I don't know if in his mind that's what he's thinking. No, it won't. You still can't do it, because again, 95% of the world's consumers outside the United States, like, they are also buying from us. We're selling to them. Now, you have to realize that, again, that's as basic as it is. You know, when we don't have enough here to cover essentially everything that we would need for us to survive, we must import. So essentially, he's forcing those prices on us. This guy right here, he's forcing those prices on us. Just saying. All he has to do is not do the tariffs. And he's trying to say that that's the fair, that's how you're getting the fair deal. No, it's not. He's causing a trade war. You need goods. He's doing that. That's all I'm saying. It's not a good thing. Call him out on these things. I call out Biden when I don't like things he does, and I think he listens, because very few people do. I'll be honest with you. I think sometimes these guys have heard me, because very few people actually do. I see people give their opinions. No lie. No, I've seen people give their opinions, and I've seen people say they hate things, but I've rarely seen people say, you know, I'm disappointed, you know, in this particular thing, and I just think that we could have done it this way or something like that, and they actually like give him that chance and say, look, I'll, you know, like, all you have to do is not do this or something. Like, they don't implicitly hate the person. This is the problem. Is I think that, like, anybody that talks about these guys, instead of just talking about them like human beings and saying, look, you know, I just disagree with this or that, please just don't do that anymore. Most people really do hate. And they think that, like, I hate him, or that I, you know, like, actually it's not the case. I was actually watching the rally. Believe it or not. Yeah, I was actually watching the rally when he was shot. I actually was. And it was really alarming. It was very strange. All I knew is that he grabbed his ear and looked off, and I knew something was up, and then I saw him hit the ground, and just everyone's on top of him, and immediately I knew what was going on. And I didn't realize what happened at first. But the point is, like, immediately my thought was, I'm really glad he's okay. Like, as soon as I heard his voice, you know, like, get my shoes and all that, it was actually relief. Like, because I don't want anything bad to happen to him. That's not the point. The point is, I just want him to get it. Because maybe he can help. Maybe he can actually do something, you know? Maybe he does care, but he's so far from, like, he really is living that life and doesn't get it. You know, he doesn't understand that bread costs what it costs. Well, do you think Donald Trump has to go to the grocery store for anything? Or do you think he's got a guy for that? Does all the shopping for him, fills that fridge, cooks his food for him. He doesn't go to the grocery store. He doesn't need to. When you're that far out of, like, can you imagine how rich you have to be to have, first of all, personal chef, somebody that shops for you, personal assistant like that, like all those things? He is that much wealthier than you. And he's always been that way. He has never needed to do those things. And this is the guy that's running the country. So you just have to understand, he really does not get it. He doesn't. but we want to give him that chance. We want to back him up. And, you know, my point is that, yeah, you know, you have to. You have to. Wow. So this is a Trump voter, huh? I'm actually talking good about him. I'm not being disrespectful at all either, and you're telling me to die. See, this is the problem. His voters are the problem. It's not even him, it's his voters. Like, look at this. Yeah, 365, like, look at that. Message retracted. Gee, I wonder if that's no sleep. Wow. Wow. Exactly. Thank you, 365. Exactly. And that's the point. Like, I actually want to give him a chance. The point is, I actually do believe that he just doesn't get it and that people take advantage of him. I really do believe that. I think that, and it's what I've been saying all along. You realize he owed so many people money over the I'm not making that up. He really did. He owed Deutsche Bank a lot of money. That's Germany. He can't go there anymore. And so, like, he had a lot of enemies, a lot of people that were going to take advantage of him initially, and I think they did. And I think that they took advantage of him by doing opposites in his policies that he wanted. I think, like I said, it was always just, you know, politicians, you know, didn't want to get involved, and then he had to go and hire his own people, and they just weren't even that trustworthy, and, you know, that's the point. And a lot of the, you know, case in point, a lot of them, you know, were prosecuted. And, you know, we're talking about his cabinet members, like, initially, like, his, you know, like, none of those people are with this team, you know, like, pretty much none of them. He hired, like, Fox News anchors and stuff. Which is, you know, I'm not speaking bad about Fox News anchor's character or anything like that. It just, because I don't know anything personally about him. I just know that they would implicitly back Trump regardless of misreporting or not. So that's just a little concerning, that's all. But yeah, again, I don't think that he means necessarily ill. I just sometimes, a lot of times, actually think he doesn't get it. I control your likes and dislikes, so be very careful. That just got you banned. So, are we starting to see why I ban people, guys? And just to let you know, any real people that are watching No Sleep's channel, that's No Sleep, basically. That's probably just one of his alts. Because remember the whole message retracted bullshit. He starts deleting messages, and you know, he's been the one sitting there spamming the like dislike on all his alts to cause you know, the stream to have issues. So you see. 365 says you should change your name to Craig Cringe. I agree. Yeah, we're just, again, we're not being, none of anything I've said so far. I actually have been really respectful, because I think Trump has. That's why I'm not You know what I mean? Like, my response ever since the whole, thing in January, that's how I've just felt. I just felt like anybody that voted for this guy deserved that response because of what you did. And, there are police officers right now that defend at the Capitol that feel betrayed by their country because of what you did. Because all they did was show up. And you killed a couple of them. And so they feel betrayed, and you have to respect that and be willing to give that the respect it deserves, and hear that out, and never ever vote for somebody that would incite violence like that. Sorry. Either one, right? So anyway, the point is, everybody feels very strongly right now. And I think the funny thing is, the one guy that isn't acting out anymore, the one guy that is sort of calm, collected, telling us what he's doing, is the guy right here signing the executive orders. This guy right here. And that's kind of my point. That's why I'm giving him this credit. That's why I'm doing this. That's why we are doing this, because I saw a lot of organized maturity when I watched the inauguration yesterday, and that's not what I saw the first time. It was very basic, very obvious, and very chaotic the first time, where it's very clear that he knows a lot more about the job, understands it a lot more, and maybe has even had another 4 years to reflect on somebody going in that knows the government like the back of his hand too, Biden. A lot of the laws and bills that in our government were, because of stuff he did help to do over the years, because he's been there for freaking ever. And so he's had time to, Trump, has had time to reflect outside of office, even with Biden and himself. And maybe he's realized, essentially how to do things versus how he was doing them before. And maybe that was why him and Obama shared a joke somehow at a funeral. And it was like the talk of the town. Everybody's like, wait a minute, wait, they're sitting next to each other, they're joking, and it's a funeral? Like what? What the hell? Maybe, just maybe. Yeah, just maybe. That was a little bit of evidence of Trump actually reaching out to Obama for a change, and us seeing the evidence of that. Us seeing finally, him maybe trying to figure out how this all works and actually reaching out to people that know. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Because that was always my point the first time. He sort of kind of came in, acted like he knew everything, and it's like that's really messed up to do that to anybody's field. You don't know everything. You don't know anything. You haven't done it. And that's kind of how he acted. And like skipping intelligence briefings and stuff like that. I don't think he's doing that this time. I really don't. I think he's going through the motions this time. Yeah, he used to skip intelligence briefings, like, about top secret stuff. Like, we're talking, like, security intelligence. He'd skip them saying he knows that stuff. Well, how do you know when it's top secret? You know stuff that the NSA only knows? What? So, that was the stuff the first time that really bothered me, and I don't see it yet. I'm not saying I'm going to, I'm just, like, I'm saying I don't see it so far.
For when you want to put in on the China tariffs that you talked
Which
about?
one?
60%?
No. You're talking about which? Say it
The
again.
China tariffs, the broad
China?
tariffs.
Well, as you know, I put on...
By the way, this is common. I'm sorry to interrupt again. This is common. For me to like a Republican the second time around because they didn't get it. This is exactly how I felt about Bush. So, sorry, let me just, let's hear that again.
Build your plant in the U.S., so we're going to have a lot of workers coming in, but we have to have legal immigration.
Do you
How
have,
do
do
you
you have a
see-
date in mind for when you want to put in on the China tariffs that you talked about?
Which one?
60%?
No. You're talking about which? Say it
The
again.
China tariffs, the broad
China?
tariffs.
Well, as you know, I put on large tariffs on China, and they've really been forced to leave them. And if we didn't leave them, you wouldn't have one steel mill that's open in this country because they were dumping massive amounts of steel. We've taken in
Yeah, that's not
hundreds
true.
of billions of dollars from China because they were unable to terminate the tariffs I put on China because there was too much money and the budgets didn't work and other reasons too. No, I mean, we're going to have...
Okay, I really wish he hadn't said that. So now he's starting to go down like his route where he's just like making shit up again. You know, just so that you know, Trump gets a massively cheap discount on importing Chinese frickin' steel. So I don't want to hear it. Like, this is the stuff you don't know. Okay, and he's putting up tariff on China goods for us to hurt our wallets. This guy gets Chinese steel for really fucking cheap. I don't want to hear it. Why is he not getting U.S.? That's the stuff that he doesn't tell you. Remember when he went on Letterman the first time before he was president? And then, I think it was Letterman, right? Or was it Carson? He was talking to him, and he happened to notice his line of ties. He was talking about his ties, line of ties that he made, that he was selling, and he was promoting. Remember that? And then he said, what does that say on the other side? And he flipped it around and said, made in China. No lie. And Trump just shrugged.
meetings and calls with President Xi. I spoke to President Xi last week, as you know. Did you know that? I had a very good phone call.
Did you stand with NATO at this moment? Are you planning to meet your NATO allies?
No, NATO has to pay more money. NATO has to pay 5%. We are, we're in the Ukraine war by $200 billion more than NATO. It's ridiculous because it affects them a lot more. We have an ocean in between. And we've spent $200 billion more on Ukraine than NATO has spent. And they've got to equalize.
Did you talk to Xi about the Ukraine war?
Yeah.
Because China and Brazil together.
Okay, a lot of that has to do with our reserves versus everybody else. He's also not mentioning the fact that the Brits are giving a lot too. Yeah, UK is giving a lot.
There has a proposal to bring Russia and Ukraine to talk.
That's good. That's fine. I'm ready.
When are you going
That's
to talk
good.
with the Brazilian
How
president?
did Brazil get involved?
That's what I was wondering.
When are you going to talk to Lula?
Are you from Brazil?
This lady
When are you
consistently
talking-
asking really weird questions.
When are you going to talk with the Brazilian president? How do you see your
Who the
relationship
fuck?
with
Who
Latin
cares
America
about
and
Brazil?
Great. Should be great. They need us.
Yeah,
Much
nobody's
more than we
talking
need
about
them.
Brazil.
We don't need
I'm
them.
right
They need
there
us.
with him
Everybody
on that.
needs us.
What the hell?
This is
Brazil.
It sounds like you will not.
What the fuck's what's going on? Something's going on in Brazil now. Now we gotta deal with. See, this is what the voters for him see is like. Okay, now this problem's going on here. This problem's going on here. We got enough of our own problems. So, South America is not dealing with pretty much any of the problems the rest of the world is dealing with. So I gotta be honest with you. Yeah, I don't want to hear about bullshit from Brazil. They can deal with their own shit. South America is sitting by itself below Mexico. Yeah, its biggest problem is fucking climate change. So considering the fact that they don't they don't have like some bustling industry producing CO2 emissions and shit like that. I think they're fine. Like, I don't know. I just with South America, like, I'm not saying I don't care. It's more like, again, you have to consider the fact that all hell is about to break loose, according to Donald Trump, in the Middle East. And, yeah, like, that's the point. Like, we're trying to stop World War III, okay? Like, that's what we're trying to stop. That was the point behind preventing Putin from just randomly just destroying Ukraine and taking that over and then having more land that stretches over into Europe. Okay? You do not want that to happen. Okay, you do not want somebody that rigs his own elections endlessly and is a president forever and lies to his people. You do not want that. You do not want somebody that just randomly says, "Attack! Attack! Ukrainians! Attack the Ukrainians!" Just randomly tells his military to just attack one day. And they're just, like, confused. And then this war is just raging on forever. No. This is the point. Like, there are bad leaders out there that just randomly just invade and destroy countries. We did it. Yeah, we did it to Iraq. Yep. So, like, this is kind of my point, is, like, we shouldn't do that either. So, like, people are acting like we shouldn't get involved. Like, the same people that are acting like we shouldn't get involved are the same people that, like, if Trump said that we should invade Mexico or something like that, they'd be, like, all for it. Suddenly, now that Trump says it, you're all for it. This is the problem. The problem is your cult following. You don't have any ideals of your own. You just get behind whatever the guy with the biggest gun says. Yeah, that's what you're doing. That's kind of my point. So that's what I see in his voters, that they don't really have real integrity. There's no integrity to their vote. And that's, I think, why Trump would actually appreciate somebody more like me that actually criticizes what he does, because he has something to learn from that. It has something of value. Absolutely nobody that votes for this guy gives him anything of value, because they don't criticize him. You just back him up. You just bow down. Like he's God or something. He's not. He often makes mistakes.
With additional China tariffs necessarily, depending on how talks go with President Xi. Is that correct?
What does that define that?
Well, you're asking, you pledged in the campaign potentially a 10% tariff on China, or as much as
Because of fentanyl.
Right. So I'm asking where you're.
That's only because of fentanyl. There are other things too.
Are additional China
And a very
tariffs-
big thing is the Panama Canal. China controls the Panama Canal. What's that all about? They're not supposed to be good. When Jimmy Carter gave it, which was a terrible mistake, he didn't do it. He didn't give it to China. He gave it to Panama. And China
he talking
controls the
about?
Panama Canal.
So are China tariffs
And we're
still
not
on
going
the
to
table,
allow
sir?
that to happen.
Hold on, what the fuck's he talking about? Hold on, I'm gonna find out what the fuck's he talking about. I don't know what he's talking about, truthfully. Yeah, I'm being honest with you. I have no fucking clue what the hell he's talking about. After a period of joint American Panamanian control, the Panamanian government took control in 1999. It is now managed and operated by the Panamanian government-owned Panama Canal Authority. I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Oh. What a... Oh, what a fucking jet. He's talking about because there's ships that go through. Okay. Oh my god. Okay. So, he's talking about how China, they're trade ships. Like, what the fuck? Like, I guess there's, like, a lot of Chinese traffic through there. Like, a lot of China's, like, trade ships go through there, and their soldiers, I guess, work the trade ships. So that... come on. I think that's what he's... I don't... It's not controlled by China. He's just... That's fake news. That's your fake news. That's what bothers me, is like he says these things and then claims fake news when somebody reports on something that he says that actually is false. So like the point is, he is the biggest hypocrite on the planet. Like, he'll say fake news all day long when he's actually wrong. But then like get really pissed when somebody says fake news about what he says. That was fake news, dude. China doesn't fucking control the Panama Canal. He's lying to you.
Are they still on the table, or is that on?
We're not going to allow that to happen.
Thank you, sir.
What
So
can
I
we
don't-
expect of the
I don't know
countries
what executive order he's signing there. So like, this is why I want to look at this stuff.
Panama Canal.
So are China tariffs
And
still
we're
on
not
the
going to
table,
allow
sir?
that to happen.
Are they still on the table, or is that on?
We're not going to allow that to happen.
Oh,
Thank
whatever.
you, sir.
What can we expect of
Let's
the
move on.
countries in NATO that spend the least amount of money, like Spain, France, below the 5%?
Spain is very low.
How
And
can
yet,
you
aren't
expect-
they a BRICS nation?
What?
What
They're a
the?
BRICS nation, Spain.
Look at
You know
this
what a
guy.
BRICS nation is? Well, you'll figure
He
it
looks
out.
very concerned.
But, and if the BRICS nations want to do that, that's okay, but we're going to put at least a 100% tariff on the business they do with the United States. You know what the BRICS is, right? You
Yes.
guys know.
Brazil,
You know what I'm
Russia.
saying, right? You know what I'm saying.
But Spain is not
This
in
is
the
an
BRICS.
So
This
it's
is-
not even a threat. In fact, since I made that statement, Biden said, well, they have us over a barrel. I said, no, we have them over a barrel. And there's no way they're going to be able to do it.
Okay.
This is an
So they are
executive order
risking
relating
100%
to...
tariffs? Those countries, like Spain?
Why does everybody in the room look so
As a BRICS
stoic?
nation, yes.
But how
They'll
is
have
it
a
a
100% tariff if they so much as even
Okay.
think about doing what they thought.
Are we all starting to notice the same thing? That like everybody in the room looks really stoic, like they don't understand what's happening or know why it's happening or something like that?
Which-
Kinda.
And they're
I recognize him. Look at this dude! Like, what is going on with this guy? This guy right here, look. He is, like, really concerned about, like, look at that face. Oh, man. He is, like, really concerned about something.
therefore they'll give it up immediately. So will China give it up.
Sir, this is about reforming the system of hiring and
Is that dude Secret Service? I don't think he is. I don't think he is. I think he's just, like... Wasn't he one of the Fox dudes? I don't know. I could be
federal
wrong.
government to ensure that merit is the lodestar of hiring decisions as
As
opposed
per
to
the Supreme Court.
other matters. Yes, sir.
Mr. President, here's a big deal, merit. Our country is going to be based on merit again.
Okay, so I want to read that, too.
Sir, this is about reforming the system of hiring in the federal government to ensure that merit is the lodestar of hiring decisions as
As
opposed
per
to
the Supreme Court.
other matters. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So apparently they're signing an executive order that essentially according to what he said, would have to do with, you getting more, higher positions in government based on merit. I don't know the details and what that entails and stuff, but interesting.
It is a big deal. Merit. Our country is going to be based on merit again. Can you believe it?
Mr. President, you would say you would end the Russia-Ukraine war on your first day in office. Where do things stand right now, and how do you intend?
Well, this is only half a day. I have another half a day left. We'll see. We want to get it done.
This is an order creating and implementing the Department of Governmental Efficiency, known as DOGE.
Okay, that's a big one.
Wait, what?
We want to get it done.
This is an order creating and implementing the Department of Governmental Efficiency, known as DOGE.
Okay.
Is he implementing Doge into government? Did I hear that right? What the fuck?
We want to get it done.
This is an order creating and implementing the Department of Governmental Efficiency, known as DOGE.
Okay, that's a big one.
Okay, maybe. Okay, you know what? I think that's just the acronym.
Is Elon Musk gonna get a West Wing office?
I need to
No,
read those. See, this is the point. I want them reported so I can read them. Like I said, by the time I had started this stream, they weren't reported yet. Executive orders are public records, so you can always look them up and read them all. Just a heads up, Donald Trump signed a ton of executive orders throughout his time in office, and you can read them, you can look them all up. And they do sort of all look like this, where they sound really good on the surface. It's like a really, really pretty package. It says this, and then you read it, and it's like literally not even close to what it states. Really. Executive orders. And then like there's a bunch of them like that. And that's the stuff that that's where you gotta, I don't think anybody's actually reading them, because they are tough to read. You really gotta think about, because it's just not the way normal people talk and write sentences. So the law is just weird how it's revolved.
He's getting an office for about 20 people that we're hiring to make sure that these get implemented. We have a problem in this country. You sign an executive order, it doesn't get done for 6 months. As an example, when we allow the J6 hostages to go out, it might not be a...
Okay, executive orders are followed out based on funding. Okay, that has to do with his organization and his funding and him doing something about it. His executive order. So he's admitting to you that he can't get his executive orders done for 6 months. That's what he's admitting to you. Just wanted to let you know that.
Approved under the old days for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 months. They had a good ruling from the Supreme Court, and it's like nothing happened. That ruling was 6 months ago, you know that. And it was like they didn't have a ruling. They've been treated very unfair. The judges have been absolutely brutal. The prosecutors have been brutal. Nobody's ever treated people in this country like that.
So what's he talking about again?
Are you computing the sentences of anyone who assaulted a police officer on January 6th?
Well, we're looking at 2 police officers, actually, that Washington police officers who went after an illegal, and things happened, and they ended up putting them in jail. They got 5-year jail sentences. You know the case. And we're looking at that in order to give them we got to give them a break.
But is there clemency in your actions today for anyone?
Well, it would be a part. That would be a part. The one I'm talking about would be a part.
Here you go, sir.
Should there be punishment for the people who assaulted law enforcement officers that day?
Well, I will say this. They've been in jail for a long time already. I see murderers in this country get 2 years, 1 year, and maybe no time. So they've already been in jail for a long time. These people have been destroyed. What they've done to these people is outrageous. There's rarely been anything like it in history, in the history of our country. And even people that were aggressive, and in many cases, I believe they happen to be outside agitators, but, you know, what do I know, right? But I think they were outside agitators. There were outside agitators involved. And obviously the FBI was involved because Ray admitted the FBI was involved. Didn't he say 23 people indirectly or directly were involved? And it was then 26? That's a lot of people. No, we got to take care of these people have been treated so badly. It's never happened before. What happened in Seattle where they took over a big portion of the city? What happened in Portland where they burn down the city every day and people die? Nothing happened to anybody.
What the hell's he
But they
talking
go after
about?
these people violently. I mean, they're still going after brand new people. They found somebody else with
See,
a...
this is the problem. Trump just rambles on about these things and doesn't specifically state what the fuck he's talking about. So it's really hard for anybody smart to actually follow along because he's very clearly just rambling about shit that happened, and he's not like there's no clear sentiment to what the fuck he's saying. Like, he just clearly, enjoys the sound of his voice or something, so he just rambles about this shit. And again, I want to follow what he's saying, but again, there is literally 0 point to what he's... he's literally just rambling about shit to feed on these, emotions where people attach to... Oh, he cares about... Listen to him. He cares about these people and stuff No, he's just rambling about something. What the fuck's he talking about? Do you know? I sure as hell don't. He's just talking about something burning down and there's these people dying or something like that and it's terrible and oh yes, Donald, great. Can we get back to the executive orders now? What the fuck are you talking about, dude?
Picture. There's never been anything like this. And you know, it's almost 100%. Think of this. Almost 100% of the people are convicted. 100%. It's Washington, D.C. People go into a trial and they say, oh, I have a wonderful lawyer and I didn't do anything wrong. And they end up in shackles almost immediately and jail. No, we're not going to let it happen.
About Greenland, we have some interest in buying it, but is there any other option that would satisfy you?
About what?
Greenland, instead of buying it.
Finland?
Greenland.
Oh, Greenland. Greenland is a wonderful place. We need it for international security. And I'm sure that Denmark will come along. I think it's costing them a lot of money to maintain it, to keep it. The people of Greenland are not happy with Denmark, as you know. I think they're happy with us. We had representatives, my son and representatives went up there 2 weeks ago, and they like us. So we'll see what happens. But Greenland is necessary, not for us, it's necessary for international security. You have Russian boats all over the place. You have China boats all over the place, warships.
Just a stack of them. He's
And
just
they can't
standing there
maintain
holding them.
Do you plan to meet
As
President
Trump
Vladimir
rambles
Putin?
on.
Who?
Do you plan to meet President Putin, sir?
I'll be meeting with President Putin.
When do you think?
I don't know, I can't speak.
Do you know what your first trip foreign trip might be, sir?
So first foreign trip typically has been with UK, but I did it with Saudi Arabia last time because they agreed to buy $450 billion worth of our product. I said, I'll do it, but you have to buy American product, and they agreed to do that. They bought $450 billion. It was the least reported story I've ever been involved in.
And now, where are you planning to go now?
Well, I don't know. If Saudi Arabia wanted to buy another 450 or 500, we'll up it for all the inflation.
Mr. President, you say you were going
think
to
I'd
end the
probably go
war first day. How do you plan to end the Ukrainian war?
Well, we're going to try and get it done as quickly as possible.
Do you want to push Israel and
Where
Saudi
is
Should have
this
never
lady
started.
from?
You know, the
She's
war with
using her
Ukraine and
phone?
Russia should have never started. It would have never started if I were president.
Will you push Israel and Saudi Arabia to normalize relations?
I don't think I have to push them. I think it's going to happen, but maybe not quite yet. But they'll end up being in the Accords, the Abraham Accords.
President Trump,
I think Saudi Arabia will end up being in the Abraham Accords.
This year?
Could be, but, soon, not in a very long way. Oh, look at that, it says TikTok.
President
My, what is that all about?
First, we have Alaska, sir. This is an executive order relating to unleashing Alaska's potential as an energy reservoir for the entire nation.
And what about ANWR?
I believe that would be included in aspects of the order.
So we're
sir.
opening up ANWR.
On the TikTok piece, President Trump, you and your members of your team now used to warn about the dangers of TikTok spying on Americans. What changed that you're not worried about that anymore?
Well, it depends on the deal. I mean, I may not do the deal or I may do the deal. TikTok is worthless. Worthless. If I don't approve it, it has to close. I learned that from the people that own it. If I don't do the deal, it's worthless.
This fucking
Worth
guy.
nothing.
Listen, man. You don't know what the fuck he's doing. First he wants to ban it, now he doesn't want to. Now it's worthless, even though it's not. Fuck it, he does not know what the fuck he's talking about. Oh my god, it's happening all over again. He's just doing stuff.
If I do the deal, it's worth maybe $1 trillion. $1 trillion. So if I do the deal I'm talking about doing it for the United States. If I do the deal for the United States, then I think we should get half.
The TikTok CEO.
In other words, I think the U.S. should be entitled to get half of TikTok. And congratulations, TikTok is a good partner. And that would be worth, could be $500 billion or something. It's crazy.
The
The numbers
shit
are
that he
crazy.
says.
But it's worthless if
Look at this
if the
guy.
president doesn't sign.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy's face right here. He's like, look, can you please just answer my fucking question already?
Then it's worthless. If the president does sign, it's worth maybe $1 trillion. So I think, like a joint venture, I
Look at
think
his
we would
face.
have a joint venture with the people from TikTok. We'll see what happens. I mean, that's one of many ideas I've
The
had.
CEO
So
is
partially
in town.
government
Did he say that he's open to that idea?
Who?
The CEO of TikTok is around.
Oh, I think he'd probably like it because he's got nothing. I mean, they really have nothing. It's
See,
passed
you
in
have to
Congress.
realize that, like, he doesn't answer a question. He just, like, causes, like, 10 other questions while answering one.
It gives the president a right to make a deal or to close it. And we have 90 days to make that decision. But I could see making a deal where the U.S. gets 50% of TikTok, polices it a little bit. or a
So
lot.
why doesn't he
Depends on-
have a plan already? This is what's like. This is my point. Like, that's what's concerning. We knew about this. All of us have known about this for a while. Why doesn't he have a plan that he can answer that question? That's a pretty normal fucking question. I actually think that sounds like a softball question that was supposed to be very easy for Trump to answer, and he didn't answer it. He just said, well, maybe we'll fucking do this, maybe we'll do that, maybe we'll do this. Who the fuck knows? We have no clue. Yeah, I could go. We have no idea. It just literally didn't answer the question. Has no plan. This is the point. That's concerning. It didn't answer. It didn't, like, no plan. The point is, if this guy has an answer and this guy has plans for things, why isn't he? And he's saying, well, are they gonna go for that? Is this guy gonna go for that? See, look at his face. Like, the point is, Trump's just sort of saying this. Maybe he came up with it on the spot, maybe he didn't. But the point was, shouldn't they have pitched this to China already and communicated to them? As president-elect? All these things he was planning to do as president-elect, remember?
On them. But remember, they make telephones in China. They make all sorts of things in China. Nobody ever complains about that. Here they're complaining about this. There's so many different products made in China, and nobody ever complained about it. The only one they complain about is TikTok. And TikTok is largely young people. I guess I have a warm spot
is he
for TikTok
talking
that I didn't
about?
have originally. But, I went on TikTok, and I won young people up by 36%, Peter.
Did he just say all these products are made in China and nobody ever complains about it? Wait, did he actually just say... Wait, did he just say that? Hold on.
Products made in China, and nobody ever complained about it. The only one...
Yeah, he did. He just said that. So to all of you Trump voters out there that complain about everything that's made in China and told me that's why you wanted to vote for Trump.
Never complains about that. Here they're complaining about this. There's so many different products made in China, and nobody ever complained about it. The only one...
Huh.
They complain about is TikTok. And TikTok is largely young people. I guess I have a warm spot for TikTok that I didn't have originally. But, you know, I went on TikTok, and I won young people up by 36%, Peter. And Republicans typically don't do too well with young people. But it's a different Republican Party.
Would the U.S. government buy a portion of TikTok?
This has everything to do with the fact that he is or isn't popular on TikTok. That's what this has to do with.
Then, or how would it get that 50%?
No, you'd take 50% of TikTok for the approval that TikTok can continue in business. And they'd have a great partner. The U.S. would be their partner. But the U.S. essentially would be paid for doing that half of the value of TikTok.
Would there be a private sector owner as
Could
well?
be, yeah, could be a lot. Tell you what, every rich person has called me about TikTok.
You wanted to block TikTok. Why did you change your mind?
Because I got to use it. And remember, TikTok is largely about kids, young kids. If China's going to get information about young kids, I don't know.
Are you concerned about Chinese?
To be honest with you, I think we have bigger problems than that. But you know, when you take a look at telephones that are made in China and all the other things that are made in China, military equipment made in China, TikTok, I think TikTok is not their biggest problem. But there's big value in TikTok if it gets approved. If it doesn't get approved, there's no value. So if we create that value, why aren't we entitled to like half?
Sir, if they don't spend 90 days when you shut them down,
Does Biden ever do news conferences like this? How many news conferences, Peter, has he done like this?
Like this?
None.
0.
And it would be zero for the next infinity. For infinity, it would be zero.
So he's doing this so he can say that. Just so you know. And it's also not true. I don't know why they're trying to say that. I don't know that he's ever done a news conference signing executive orders, but plenty of ex-presidents have done news conferences. I don't like what the fuck's he talking about? No president ever, guys. None. Biden's never done a press conference, news conference. Nope. Never a single time. Do you believe this shit? Like, do you actually like buy into it? Do you just what? So again, like, he's showing his colors here. He's showing you that he's just doing this just to try to make it look like the other side doesn't do something or something like that. When clearly that's not true. We know that they do press conferences. You can just fucking look them up. I mean, they've been doing them since forever. Republicans are the ones classically that didn't do those things. So yes, again, props to him for trying to be transparent. But again, stop trying to like lie and brag and say that Biden doesn't do things like this and stuff like. It's just not true. You're not like winning anybody over with that you wouldn't have in the first place.
Is Elon Musk going to help implement the executive orders? I think you mentioned
No.
implementation.
Elon, no. Elon is very busy sending rocket ships up to various places with lots of satellites on them.
What is your reaction to the confirmation of Marco Rubio on what does it mean for Latin America?
Which one?
Marco Rubio as a secretary.
Marco Rubio. You said Marco.
Marco Rubio.
Yeah, he's. I think he's great. I think Marco's doing a fantastic job. I think he's going to get a lot of votes. I think he's going to be at 90% or something. I mean, I'm hearing very good. People know him. They know him in the Senate. They know he's good. He's doing a good job. I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't know what's going to happen with that. He's got some very strong ideas now, Marco.
You signed
Which one
the
did you
TikTok
sign,
program.
Mr. President?
Did you sign the TikTok program?
Yeah,
Yes, that was just.
One of Marco Rubio's ideas is
just signed it.
How many
still
did you sign?
changing Venezuela, changing power. Are you still committed with Maduro leaving power in Venezuela?
Well, we're going to find out about that too, because we're going to probably stop buying oil from Venezuela. We don't need their oil.
Another embargo
his
like the first term.
Well, it could be, but we don't want to buy. We don't have to buy their oil. We have plenty of oil for ourselves, so
President Trump,
that'll change Venezuela quite a bit.
President Trump, there was a lot of concern about this during the campaign. A question that only works today. Are you a dictator on day one?
No. I can't imagine even being called that. No, I believe in the sanctity of the vote. The Democrats didn't because they cheated like dogs, but I believe in the sanctity, and this was too big to rig. This last election was just too big to rig.
Mr.
But
President, when do you
no,
think plan to
really
speak
the
to-
opposite.
When do you plan to speak to President Putin?
Could be very soon.
Well, there's
And
still a
you talked a bit
Congress.
about Ukraine and Russia, but
Like-
how long do you think it would take
come on.
to end that conflict? And
I have to speak to President Putin. We're going to have to find out. He can't
Still
be
a
thrilled.
Senate.
He's not doing so well. I mean, he's grinding it out, but most people thought that war would have been over in about 1 week, and now you're into 3 years, right? So he can't be thrilled. It's not making him look very good. Now, eventually, I mean, it's a big machine, so things will happen, but I think he'd be very well off to end that war. We have numbers that almost 1 million Russian soldiers have been killed. About 700,000 Ukrainian soldiers are killed. Russia's bigger, they have more soldiers to lose. But that's no way to run a country.
What did your TikTok order do, Mr. President?
It just gave me the right to sell it or close it. Essentially with TikTok, I have the right to either sell it or close it. And we'll make that determination. And we may have to get an approval
Are
from
we
China
still
too, I'm not
talking
sure.
about this?
But I'm sure they'll approve it. And if they don't approve it, it would be somewhat of a hostile act, I think. But it's good for China if it gets approved.
Mr. President, so you're not guaranteeing that TikTok will be around after 90 days from today?
No, but it could very well be. It makes sense for it to be, because it's got tremendous value. But if we create the value by approving, in other words, that approval gives it tremendous value. If that's the case, then we should be entitled to 50% as a country. You understand? You haven't heard that one before, right? That's called a joint venture. And nobody ever thought that way.
Who will be your partner?
Well, I don't know. I think you have a lot of people that would be interested in TikTok with the United States as a partner.
Mr. President, what was it like walking into the Oval Office this evening?
Oh, what a great feeling. One of the better feelings I've ever had.
Do you like this town better now than in 2017?
Well, we're very experienced now. You would say nobody's ever had experience like I have. I've dealt with some very good people. I've dealt with some very bad people, and I know who the bad ones are and the good ones are. Don't forget, I was very successful in primarily the real estate business. And people used to say, who's worse, a politician or a vicious real estate developer? And I'd always say, the real estate developer is far worse. But after about 3 months and getting to know scum like Adam Schiff and other people like that, I said, no, actually, real estate people are quite nice by comparison.
You said you plan to speak with President Putin soon. What about President Zelensky, and what's your message?
Yeah, I would, but he's told me he wants to make a deal. Zelensky wants to make a deal.
Look at that guy.
I don't know if Putin does. He might not. He should make a deal.
He looks like really upset about
Russia.
something. He's like, wait, can I get out of here? He looks like
I think Russia's
he's like really concerned.
In big trouble. You take a look at their economy. You take a look at the inflation in Russia. So I would hope. I got along with him great, and I would hope he wants to make a deal.
Mr. President, are you keeping U.S. sanctions on Russia until he makes a deal?
Well, sanctions or tariffs. I think the word tariff is much better because it keeps your dollar stronger. I think tariffs are more effective. I mean, I used sanctions on Iran. Iran was broke.
So the answer is yes.
When I left office, Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah, none. They were flat broke. And October 7th would have never happened. And I think you all know that. It would have never happened. They had no money. Now they're rich, but, you know, they're weakened in a different way. I would say that the one attack by Israel really set them back. It really set them back. The Pages, the Pages, and others. You know, the attack on air defense was a bad attack for Iran.
What are you signing now, sir?
It's an executive order relating to reforms to the federal workforce, including to the senior executive service.
Who
We're
are
getting
all
rid
these
of all
people?
of the cancer. I call it cancer. The cancer caused by the Biden administration. Sir.
How confident are you, Mr. President, that you can keep the ceasefire in Gaza and conclude the 3 phases of this deal?
I'm not confident. That's not our war, it's their war, but I'm not confident. But I think they're very weakened on the other side.
Do you support the 2-state solution?
Gaza, boy, I looked at a picture of Gaza. Gaza is like a massive demolition site. That place it's really got to be rebuilt in a different way.
Do you plan to help in rebuilding Gaza?
I might. You know, Gaza is interesting. It's a phenomenal location. On the sea, best weather. You know, everything's good. It's like some beautiful things could be done with it. But
again, who is this person? Primarily asking about foreign policy, and again, everybody here has like a normal camera, and it seems to also be dressed normally, and there's these 2 very odd, suspicious acting women standing next to each other wearing very large overcoats, and the one asking about foreign policy too. And again, all she's using is her fucking phone to record this. She doesn't have a regular camera. It seems really, I don't know, if I were Secret Service, I would, like, be really suspicious of them, too. Like, what the fuck are they doing there? Who are they? Everybody in that room looks like they should be there, except these 2 people. Maybe that's what's wrong with this guy across the room. And he's sitting all the way across the room from them, wondering what the hell's going on and why they're there. That maybe that is what it is, because he is kind of looking that direction, isn't he? Yeah, that is really weird.
it's very interesting. But some fantastic things could be done with Gaza.
Look at her, she's using her phone.
How do you see the future in governance for Gaza? Who should?
Well, it depends. I can't imagine you can have, well, you certainly can't have.
This was planned, right? Like,
the people that were there, most of them are dead, by the way, right? Most of them are dead. But they didn't exactly run it well. Run viciously and badly. So you can't have that.
Mr. President, on TikTok, sir, do you pause any decision on Chinese tariffs until you know what the resolution on TikTok will be? Are those things
No,
connected at
if
all?
China didn't approve it, we could put tariffs on China. Don't forget, China charges us tariffs, and we charge them very little, except for what I did. I put a lot of, we took in hundreds of billions of dollars. But until I came along, China never paid 10 cents to this country. They ripped us off, and they never paid anything. But, like, if we wanted to make a deal with TikTok and it was a good deal, and China wouldn't approve it, then
there was a rate.
I think ultimately they'd approve it. Because we'd put tariffs on China. Maybe. I'm not saying I would.
Again, like,
but
he's
you
just
certainly
resorting
could
back
do
to
that.
what he always does.
And if we said,
he's not being
well, if you're not gonna
transparent at
approve
this
it,
point. He's starting to
then that's a
just
certain
kind of make shit up
hostility,
again.
and we'll put tariffs of 25, 30, 40, 50%, even 100%. And if we did that, I think they'd approve it.
President Trump, you've seen the other living presidents a couple times in the last few months. If you ever had to call on one of them for advice about anything that's going on,
Oh, yeah?
who would you call?
Good question.
So they're just saying, well, I thought Bill Clinton was a very good politician. I don't think he was used properly. I think they disrespected him when he.
Okay, I actually like that he said that, because I agree with it. and this is the one point that I've actually been telling you guys. Bill Clinton balanced the budget and gave us the 90s. And he won 2 elections. No president has ever since him. Ever since him. And he gave us a surplus. And I actually appreciate the fact that he's recognizing Bill Clinton. That's a good thing.
Hillary was running, he came back and he said, you know, you better get up to Michigan and Wisconsin. You remember that, Peter? Every house has a Trump sign on it. And they all laughed at him because the Republicans hadn't won Michigan or Wisconsin for decades, long time. And they all laughed at Bill Clinton. Like, the hell does he know? And he turned out to be right because I won both of them. And then we just won both in this election, too. We won Wisconsin and Michigan and every other swing state. We won all.
What he just said proved everything I've been saying, too. That the Republicans have been running against Hillary Clinton for a long time, and they had plenty of time to make people hate her. Most of the time, you know what I mean? Like, most of the time, you don't have much time to, you know, you don't have that much time, and so, like, they just had all that time, and, yeah, he's right.
All the swing states. All 7. They talked about 7 swing states. We won them all. So, but Bill Clinton he had a great political sense, I think.
You looked like you were having a good conversation with President Obama at President Clinton.
I was.
So
and
did
you'd like to know what
Everybody wants to
Everybody wants to know. I wouldn't want to, but we were having some crazy conversations.
Biden really was like the
Why do you
well-rounded
ask me
guy.
I don't think you want to know. You might not. You might be insulted.
It's an executive order relating to holding former government officials accountable for unlawful disclosure of sensitive information. This next one, sir, is a declaration of a national energy emergency.
So you also
That's a big one. You know what that allows you to do? That means you can do whatever you have to do to get out of that problem. And we do have that kind of an emergency.
President Trump, at some point will you use your powers of the presidency to tell Americans who are concerned about drones?
Yeah, oh, good. Yeah. I will.
Can you tell us now?
In fact, I'd like to know because I just got here.
What do you think?
I just came here. I've been here for 15 minutes now.
Do people listening, because this is going out live?
And I got to read this letter too. Because of you, I found this letter.
I can read it for you.
It's interesting. Yeah, I knew you would. Your father would too.
But is it anything these drones? Is there anything that people need to be worried
No, I think it's terrible. I would like to find out what it is and tell the people.
And can you commit to some kind of...
In fact, I'd like to do that. Could we find out what that was, Susie? Okay? Yeah, why don't we find out? Immediately. I mean, I can't imagine it's an enemy or there would have been, people would have gotten blown up all over. Maybe they were testing things. I don't know why they wouldn't have said what it was.
Okay.
They had a lot of them flying over Bedminster, which is interesting.
And with the events today and yesterday, was everything moved inside just for cold weather, or was there some kind of a security concern?
No security. Because they had everything shut down to drones. You can shut that down pretty easily if you're sophisticated. They're very sophisticated, these people. No, it was just cold weather. And we made a good move because, first of all, I thought it was incredible in the Capitol today. You know why I liked it? Because I got great reviews on that speech. I got great reviews. Can you believe it? They actually were fair.
This is
Maybe the fake news is changing.
Unleashing energy production.
Unleashing energy
Maybe the
production.
fake news is changing. If I wrote a letter, like if I was a president, I wrote like a letter to the next president in the desk. I feel like, because like he's gonna know everything that already happened. He's gonna be briefed. He's gonna there's gonna be plenty of stuff he does know. So like, what do you put in a letter? I don't know. I feel like I'd be like, well, just make sure that, you know, on the second floor bathroom you flush twice. Otherwise, that comes right back up. You know, like, I just sit here wondering what that letter actually said.
But I thought it was, I think having it in the Capitol is great. It obviously, you can take care of the people you have to take care of. The
That's
city
probably
was
why everybody
booming.
wants to know.
And if we would have done it outside, people would have been hurt because it was
It's probably
really
personal,
cold.
you
You know,
know.
it was like, looked sunny. But when you stood outside for 10 minutes, people were running back in. It was really cold and really windy. The wind brings it down a lot.
You know what? I'll bet it's an apology for pardoning his family when he did, but like, I'm sure you understand, sort of thing. Like, I'll bet that's what. I'll bet it.
So
I'll
we
bet
made
that's
the
what it
right
was.
decision. You couldn't have stayed, I don't think you could have had it out. You know how cold it was today. It was,
Maybe.
people went out for a little while just to test it. They couldn't stay out more than 10 minutes. They all came back in. So we would have had a disaster if we did that, and people would have been hurt.
What are you
The
guys
unlawful
have
disclosure, EO, is that related to the Hunter Biden situation?
Which one?
The one on unlawful disclosures by federal officials, is that related to the
No,
letter?
I think it's just
What about
more
that?
general than that. It's not Hunter Biden. I was
I'm glad that he
surprised
finally admitted that.
that President Biden would go and pardon his whole family, because that makes him look very guilty. You know, I could have pardoned my family. I could have pardoned myself, my family. I said, if I do that, it's going to make me look very guilty. I don't think I'd be sitting here, frankly.
I'm pretty
if I
sure
did that, I
he
don't
did
think I'd
it.
be sitting here right now, because I would have shown that you're guilty. But by pardoning his brother or brothers, by pardoning all of those people that he pardoned, by pardoning
So-
J6,
Just so you know, while saying that, he is like claiming mistrial, getting everything like he's found guilty, then he's mistrial, you know, this and this, mistrial. So like while he's saying this now in front of you, well, he's lying because he did do those things. He is constantly doing that. Like that's the point. Like that's a lie. He's flat out lying. That's a lie.
the Unselect Committee, they destroyed all of the documents. They deleted all of the information. There's no information. And a lot of the information pertains to Nancy Pelosi because she was given 100, I mean, you know this, it's on tape with her daughter.
What?
Nancy Pelosi was responsible for not taking advantage of 10,000 soldiers or 1,000. You wouldn't have you could have used 400. It was a relatively small crowd.
She's responsible for not taking advantage of soldiers? I don't understand what the fuck he's talking about. Again, this man just sits here and finds any excuse to bring up Nancy Pelosi because people hate her. Like, that's what he's doing.
It wasn't the crowd that was at the
really
mall.
weird.
It was a small crowd. So,
and by the way, they hate
I-
her because of him. Nobody even knew who she was until he started mentioning her a long time ago. Because nobody paid attention. Yeah, they would just say, like, simple things like, oh, the Democrats and stuff. And they're all bad and stuff. And then he started mentioning specific names. That's when people started paying attention. And you didn't pay attention to the facts, you just paid attention to the names and whether you should hate them or not. This is what I've noticed, because there's really no reason for you to hate Nancy Pelosi. That's the issue. It's just that nobody has the balls to say that, because if anybody says that, that's suddenly an issue, because y'all hate her implicitly for no reason whatsoever, except that this man told you to. You don't know why. Oh, yeah, you know how many times I heard, she hands down is the devil, she hands down has everything wrong with the government, yada yada, but you don't know why? Why? Why are you saying that? Tell me why. Give me a reason. Well, she just is. No. Donald Trump hated her because she was the Democratic Senate minority leader. She was in charge of literally the Democrats when they took over. Like that's why he hates her, because she forced him to do things. She forced him to do his job. Instead of scheduling these press things where he's taking a very long time to sign things. Like any boss, any manager would look at this as a huge fucking waste of time. Huge, massive waste. Like, imagine how much fucking time he is wasting doing this. And again, I want to remind you, while you think this is transparent, yeah, I think the first comment here says something about, like, this is the most transparent we've seen anybody. He can literally just say it's for this or that, and it's not. Like, all this could be complete bullshit. You realize that. And yet, you're saying this is the most transparent? No, this isn't transparency. It's just it's a staged stunt. It's a publicity stunt. It's the same thing he's always done. This is right on brand. So yeah, I'm giving him a chance. I told you that. But as the course of the video plays out, he starts resorting back to his usual make shit up, not give me information, proving that he's not informed, actually. And constantly answer questions with what ifs, and maybe we will, maybe we won't. No plan. Yeah. It's no different. No, it's the same thing. It'll be the same. The only difference is it seems like he's getting better at making it seem like it's more official, you know, like he's kind of becoming aware when people like smell bullshit, so he has to kind of do this. Because, again, he can, like, this is just complete bullshit, and then just do the opposite after the fact.
I was a little bit surprised that he did it, because it makes him look guilty. I mean, he's going to have to live with it. Now, with that being said, it's unbelievable precedent it creates for a president. But the precedent is unbelievable. Now maybe every president that leaves office, they're going to pardon every person they ever met, so they don't have some lunatic like deranged Jack Smith, who's a total lunatic, by the way. Not a smart guy either, he's a dummy. But we beat the hell out of him. What? And I helped my reputation.
Do you think you'd have to do the same thing at the end?
He literally just admits that he took somebody down to help his reputation. He literally just stated that. So, hence understanding why you would pardon your family if you were Biden. You see what I'm saying? Like, he literally just admitted why Biden would do that in that statement. Because he took somebody down to help his reputation. He just admitted to that. This is what I've been telling you that Donald Trump does. He just admitted to doing this. This is what this person does. This is the person that you like. You think that's a good thing. Everything you teach your kids not to do, you are enabling this person to do. You're telling them that's a good thing. Everything you teach your kids not to do, you're telling this guy it's a good thing. Take advantage of people. Step on them to get ahead. That's good. Round of applause. He just did. I want to remind you, this is the same guy that nonchalantly said in an interview he would sell secrets to the enemy for a better price. And nobody called him out then either. So I want to remind you how he just very, very easily admits to things and nobody pays any attention to it. So remember this.
So they don't have some lunatic like deranged Jack Smith, who's a total lunatic, by the way. Not a smart guy either, he's a dummy. But we beat the hell out of him. And I helped my reputation.
Do you think you'd have to do the same thing at the end of this term?
Well, I guess
Okay. And yeah, it did. You know, I'll admit, and I think that almost anybody realizes that when the assassination attempts happened on Donald Trump, it completely changed how everybody felt. Suddenly, everybody wanted Donald Trump to be president again, just because of that. Isn't that really weird? I think that's really, really, really weird. Yeah, almost like you want everything to feel like it's some Hollywood movie or something.
now I have precedent to do it. I wouldn't want to do that. No, I think it makes you look very guilty. I think it makes Biden look very bad, very weak, and very guilty.
Why?
And I mean, he pardoned everybody. How about this J6 committee? Why is he pardoning them? The reason is because if you delete and destroy documentation, everything, they have nothing. Because
okay, I'm pretty sure that Donald Trump is pardoning the people. Right. So he's talking about how Biden pardoned his family or whatever, right? But now he's conveniently talking about how he's going to pardon the people that rioted at the Capitol. He's going to pardon those people that... You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see the correlation there. Like, I don't... You know, like, he calls one out, but then at the same time, he does the same thing for people that actually committed crimes. That makes no fucking sense. You're going after you're somebody that was the president, somebody that deserves the right to pardon his family for the sake of the fact that this guy, who's like he's basically calling himself Scarface president, right? Yeah, I could understand why a nice guy wants to pardon his family. One thing I don't understand is why this guy would randomly pardon a bunch of people that actually rioted the Capitol, committed crimes. That doesn't make sense. The first one, yes. The second one, no. This is the point.
because they were guilty as hell. They rigged it. It was a rigged deal. And when you do that,
well, something's rigged again.
I was a little surprised he did it.
Something's
Liz
rigged
Cheney,
again.
I mean, she's a lunatic. And she lost by the greatest margin in the history of a politician running for Congress, like 40 points. The reason it was the greatest is because anybody losing that badly is going to drop out. But she's a nut job. She doesn't drop out. You know, she just keeps chugging forward. And she lost by almost 40 points. That's the biggest number anybody's ever lost by. But why would Biden do that? He pardoned her and pardoned everybody. The reason is that they destroyed documents. And if you're even in a civil case, which this wouldn't be, I mean, people go to jail for a long time for doing that.
What documents? What's he talking about? So again, like no evidence, no like showing us what he's talking about, just saying very, you know, generally they destroyed documents, period. End of discussion. Well, just so you know, like when a new administration comes in and the old one leaves, yeah, they shred documents. So that because it's very common that the new administration disagrees and wants to kind of know what you're up to. It's like that's the point. That's why it's called a smooth transition, so that we can stop the drama. Like this is what we're talking about, and this is how bad it's gotten with Trump, where like he goes crazy with trying to make people look bad because again his voters love it. They love the hate, so he just does it. It makes him look good, and it's just terrible. But the point is, they all shred documents. That's part of the process. So him saying that documents were shredded or something like that doesn't have any bearing on really anything.
What's this one?
That's Unleashing American Energy, sir. It relates to easing permitting processes and other regulatory systems to ensure that we can produce energy efficiently to drive the American economy forward.
President Trump, looking around the office, we know
So
some changes.
again,
on the way to the Biden.
again, I want to read some of these because, like, while that sounds good, that could be something where. Okay, so like they signed an executive. Didn't they sign an executive order somewhere in this where they withdrawed from the Paris Peace Accord? Okay, do you guys know all that does is take away things that, you know, help prevent us from polluting the air, right? So, like, essentially the idea is that we sign that, like, an agreement that we're going to continue to, you know, essentially just have regulations that would prevent, you know, continued pollution. That's all that is. And he's withdrawing from it like it's a good thing. So you want to pollute the air? And then, like, he sells it to you in a way that's like, it makes it sound good. Oh, well, China's polluting, so we should too. That's literally his fucking sales pitch. He actually said that.
I mean, people go to jail for a long time for doing that. What's this one?
That's Unleashing American Energy, sir. It relates to easing permitting processes and other regulatory systems to ensure that we can produce energy efficiently to drive the American
So,
economy
like, this
forward.
is why I want to read these things, because, like, that,
Looking around
again,
the
that
office,
sounds
we know
good,
some
but
changes on the way the Biden
it might not be.
Can you confirm that you have added back the Diet Coke one?
Wait, what?
I think this, first of all, I just got here. So my people came in. They have extraordinary decorator sense, right? Let me just see some of the pictures. That's a good one. I could live with him. I could live with George Washington, I can tell you. I could live with Thomas Jefferson. I could live with most of them. They took a very safe route. They don't have any bad ones up there.
Withdrawing from
What
the
is this one?
Withdrawing from the World Health Organization, sir.
Ooh, that's a big one. So we paid $500 million to World Health when I was here, and I terminated it. China, with 1.4 billion people, we have 350 to pay. We have, nobody knows what we have because so many people came in illegally, but let's say we have 325. They had 1.4 billion. They were paying 39 million, we were paying 500 million. It seemed a little unfair to me. So that wasn't the reason, but I dropped out. They offered me to come back for 39 million. In theory, it should be less than that, but, you know. And when Biden came back, they came back for 500 million. He knew that you could have come back for 39 million. They wanted us back so badly, so we'll see what happens.
Mr. President,
Pretty sad though, think of it. China pays 39 million and we pay 500 million. And China's a bigger country.
Mr. President, you spoke about inflation today in your remarks. What actions are you taking today that will have a direct impact for Americans on their everyday costs to bring the costs down?
The biggest thing and factor for inflation is energy.
Taxes taxes and regulations should always be based on income, on what people can afford. Otherwise, you're going to drive somebody out of house and home. It's literally basic economics. So the man that should understand that more than anyone, that has done that to people, is this guy. And he's not understanding how fucking poor China is, even though they have all those fucking people. Like,
They
whatever.
screwed up my energy policy, and then they went back to it. You know, they heard it really
Like,
badly.
I get it. Like, the point is,
And then they
like,
went back to it.
he's causing, that's the point. Like, their people are poor, so the point is, like, they have to raise those prices too. Like, the point is, our prices, our economy is bad now, and everything costs so much because he's starting a trade war with countries that can't afford to pay more. That's the fucking point.
And they started drilling more, but by that time it was too late.
He's
Many
like,
of
yes,
these
they
things that
can.
we're signing
No,
and
they
that
can't.
Doug Burgum is going to be signing, and Chris Wright, who's phenomenal at, Energy, Department of Energy. We're going to be taking we're going to make a lot of money from energy. We have
There's over 1 billion
more
people
than
in
anybody
China.
else. We're going to make a lot of money from energy.
Isn't
We're
there
going to make a
there's
lot of money
almost
from
2 billion
tariffs.
people in China?
European Union charges us, they have a VAT tax of 20%, but it's really much higher than that. And that's the equivalent, almost the equivalent of a tariff.
Half of the world, just so that you understand, half of the world is in India and China. Half. Basically. You have to realize that. That is their population. That is basically a fact, because two most populated countries in the world have basically, if you add it up, equal about half the world's population. About. And this guy's acting like they can fucking afford, and they again, remember the geographical size of each country, how large they are. Okay? They're not, like, yeah, so to a point they're large, but think about it. A good bit of China is rigorous mountains. And India's complete disaster for trying to grow anything. It's desert and dry and fucking dirt that doesn't do any. It's just useless dirt. Their soil sucks. And so, while China is beautiful, yeah, tons of rigorous terrain that spans for just shitloads of miles, so you can't use any of it. And then at the same time, you have a shitload of people crammed into very, the areas that they can. That's just what people don't realize. They don't know about the countries. They don't know about the geography, how it affects things. People just look at things, again, from that tunnel vision. And that this is what this typically does, is you make a decision based on what you think you know, because, oh, well, that's the economics of it. We're getting a worse deal, so they should pay. No, you should understand the way their country is and their geography and everything first before you make that decision, because, again, you're making that based on our need and not understanding the needs of literally half the world. Well, we shouldn't have to worry about that. I get it. But when we import and we consume more than we can actually produce, we do need to.
And they're tough. They're very tough. They don't take our cars. They don't take our farm product. They don't take almost anything. And yet we take their cars and we take their farm product. We take a lot from them. So, we have like a $300 billion deficit with the European Union. So we'll straighten that out with either tariffs or they have to buy our oil. The one thing they can do, our oil and gas, the one thing they can do to catch up quickly, buy our oil and gas.
Will you travel?
And they should do that.
Will you travel to China?
That I agree with. But I don't know how we're set up for that, and I don't know the cost that goes into setting it up, and it, you know what I mean? Like, so you set it up so it's self-perpetuating. Does the cost match the need of the output, from other countries? Because what you have to realize is that most countries are actually getting their oil from Russia. We were too for the longest time, actually, until Biden. And so, yes, I agree with what he's saying there, actually. But you have to figure in the cost that it will cost for doing that, and then at the same time to maintain it as well. Not that it wouldn't be worth it. I'm just saying factor that in. Don't just be a dummy about it. Is it cheaper for us to use it rather than export it? Don't be a dummy. Do the math, please.
This year?
Yeah, it could be. I've had the invite.
Mr. President,
I would do it, yeah.
talking about the European Union and the tariffs, like, what do you mean when you say that the European Union country like Spain is part of BRICS?
Because the course of our country. I'm glad that he actually said something about Bill Clinton too, because a lot of times, this is the issue: is that Republicans. Not saying he necessarily does this, but Republicans would consistently do policies over the years without factoring in what they cost. And then the budget's just hemorrhaging. That's why.
Yeah, I've had the invite.
Mr. President,
I would do it, yeah.
talking about the European Union and the tariffs, like, what do you mean when you say that the European Union country like Spain is part of BRICS?
That a what?
BRICS. You said BRICS.
Oh, BRICS. No, I was talking about BRICS. BRICS is 6 nations. I think it's 7 nations. And they were looking to do a number in the United States. And if they do that, they won't be happy about what's going to happen to them.
Are you still considering a universal tariff, Mr. President, on all countries?
I may, yeah, but we're not ready for that yet. We may wrap it.
Okay.
Because essentially all countries take advantage of the U.S. We don't make any good deals in the U.S. It's amazing in a way that we exist. We don't make good deals. We don't have any good deals. We have a deficit with almost, not all, there are a couple, I won't tell you their names.
So actually, there were some really good deals that we did have until Donald got rid of them. I just want to remind you of that.
Because I don't want them to find out about it because they'll feel stupid. But there are a couple of countries that actually don't make money with us. But I don't want to let you know because they'll immediately change that. But we're gonna do. I tell you what, our country has an amazing economic future. I really believe that.
What kind of universal tariff if you did do one?
Well, you'd put a universal tariff on anybody doing business in the United States because they're coming in and they're stealing our wealth, they're stealing our jobs, they're stealing our companies, they're hurting our companies. So you put a tariff on to keep them from doing that.
Mr. President, you surrounded yourself with a whole bunch of billionaires today. President Biden, as in his farewell address, reported about an oligarchy. I was wondering if you could respond to that.
Well, he had a lot of guys, and then they found out that he didn't know what the hell he was talking about, and I think they deserted him. They deserted him, those same guys. Look, I don't make pretenses, smart guys, but there are a lot of smart people around, but they did desert him. They were all with him, every one of them. Now they're all with me, I don't know. It's not going to get anything from me, I don't need money. But I do want the nation to do well, and they're smart people, and they have, they create a lot of jobs. And if they don't do it, China's going to do it.
You did the hair 365.
Is they've taken industries and they've taken it away. They outsmarted China.
Are you still at the salon?
We sort of like that. It's okay. They've done a great job. A lot of them, not all of them.
Protecting women from radical gender ideologies.
Oh, not Trump's hair.
Mr. President, going back to the World Health Organization,
you did his hair.
Don't you see the importance of an organization like that to coordinate a global response?
Sure, I do, but not
that dude has
when
good
you're
hair.
being ripped off like we are by the World Health. World Health ripped us off. Everybody rips off the United States, and that's it. It's not going to happen anymore. Thank you very much, everybody.
All right, guys, let's go.
So, also, just want to point out the fact there will be more executive orders he signs. He has a whole pile here, as you can see, and this guy is holding a whole bunch. There's also a huge pile back here that you can see. He is not done signing executive orders. So again, like, while this seems transparent, it's not. This is a publicity stunt. And that it's to fool you into thinking transparency. So please read the fine print and all of those executive orders. I really don't think that you will, but if you were informed, you would. And, you know, the point is, I'm pointing out that he is clearly not being transparent. There are plenty of executive orders here that he's signing. There's plenty here that he's signing. He started this with saying that nobody's done press interviews and press things like this. I mean, this is right on brand for him. Of course he would say that. I literally all the time, politicians, presidents do press interviews. Like, what? That made no sense for him to say that. He actually claimed that at the beginning. And the other guy agreed, the guy with the nice hair, he actually agreed. He said, nope, none. Like, complete lies. How many did Biden do like this? None. It's a complete lie. Biden did plenty of press interviews. I don't know that they did necessarily one specifically for signing the executive orders when they did that. But again, this is public information. You can go read it. Again, they didn't report it yet. They didn't report these yet. So you can't read these, but you can go read the shitload of others Donald Trump signed throughout his time in office the first time. And again, presidents have done plenty of press interviews and stuff. Like, I just don't even understand saying that. So yeah, there it is. Oh, you guys can't see. The first one actually says, in my 30 years of living as an American, this is the most transparent I've ever seen a president. How can anybody hate? Well, actually, yeah, that's kind of the point, is it's not. You're being fooled. So, like, even the top comment actually says that. How is this? Explain to me how it's transparent. A bunch of reporters asking questions? And him having a guy stand, you know that he signs executive orders. You know that he lies to you about what they do. That's all this is. This guy stood here and just told you basically what kind of they were, but sometimes he lied. Guarantee it. You're gonna read them and they say the opposite. And that's all this is. And not only that, we called it several times. We had evidence of it throughout the video, as I called it. Yeah, this is a publicity stunt to trick people into thinking that this guy tells the truth and is super transparent and stuff like that. That's all it is. So take it with a grain of salt. Read them yourself. It's public information. Yeah. I mean, again, I'm giving him every chance. I told you at the beginning of this, I still am. I'm still gonna make my decision after, you know, like reading the actual executive orders themselves. I'm not gonna make it based on this, but I can see how this is going. Yeah, it's just a TV show for you. Donald Trump just wants a real life TV show. That's all. So anyway, I'm probably gonna get some food and then I'll probably stream something. And so we'll probably run a stream or something, but I'm probably gonna get some food before I do that. And yeah, I will talk to you guys when I do that. I do appreciate 365. Thanks for being here, man. Thanks for stopping in, coming back too. Appreciate everybody else that may have stopped in to watch. I do. And again, I'm giving him a chance. I am. I'm trying to be reasonable here. But you know, obviously, I see things the way I do, and I'm after the first time he was president, obviously I just learned a few things from his presidency, that's all. So I'm wary of it, and again, I feel like I'm being fair. I'm going to read the you know, the executive orders afterwards, and I hope they are exactly as this guy said they are, you know. You need to add a USB-C port to your PC. What do you mean? They're trying to... I guess, I don't know that I would need... I mean, I guess, yeah, I mean, that would help to know what's plugged into it and what ports are left over, for sure. Because I don't know what's all plugged into your motherboard. I mean, don't those things just all plug into PCI Express these days? Don't you normally just have like a few PCI Express slots and you just get like a little board, stick it in the PCI Express slot? I think that's how they work these days. If not, you mount it on the end. I don't know about PCI Express, but it might have a little plug that goes into like SATA or something. I'm not sure how old your board is. There's usually a USB controller. So yeah, I guess I can look stuff up. I don't really look at stuff like that. I actually have never really even needed to add a C port, but hold on. Why do you need that, by the way? Why do you need that? Why not just, like, whatever device you're using, plug it in through normal USB and then plug this USB-C into that? Like, why not just get an adapter? Right, but could you just get an adapter for the you know what I'm saying? Let me see what this thing has on it. I haven't looked at this thing for a while. Oh, you're getting... Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, that has the HDR10. Yeah, that makes sense why you'd want that one. That's actually why my TV's so smooth. That's the same... Here we go. Dude, just get a cable. No. I'm looking at the back of this Elgato, you're saying the Elgato capture card, right? I'm looking at the back of this thing, and it just has a Type-C out. So get like a phone cable or something. Get like a top quality phone charging cable or something. That should work. You know, like that plugs into like one of those like AC like wall plug like things that you plug your phone into. That's what you would want, I would think. And then plug the big end into your PC. Yeah, maybe you just need a better one. Yeah. Yeah, you don't need a card. That's why I was so confused when you asked me that. I was like, what are you talking about? A card for a Type C? I was like, well, I guess you could probably get one to plug into your motherboard, but I'm just like, why? Okay, yeah, now I get it. Yeah, just a cable. You need a better cable. What I would do 365 is I would look up the specific voltage output of the port. Like if you have a book that came with it, it'll tell you the volts of the port, and then what you would want to do is go, you know, like in your searches on Amazon and stuff, make sure that the cable that you're getting, you scroll down through the specifications and that it has like a window of voltages, and you just look at that like window. It'll say like the bottom end is this, the top end is this, because like every device is different. So it's gonna have like if it's a charging cable, that's why I said charging cable. It's a charging cable. It should have like some sort of like window of detection where it has like a range. So that's your best course of action, and just make sure that like whatever voltage you have is, you know, obviously within the range of that cable that you're buying. If that helps. And then sometimes, like, I'll just get, like, a 2-pack, so I have an extra cable. So sometimes the 2-pack's, like, to justify getting the, for, like, $1 or $2 extra, you have an extra cable, you know? Yeah, of course. Of course. Yeah, I know how often people go through phone cables too, so I mean a lot of times those things are universal, but yeah, just get a nice braided cables usually last longer. Get a nice braided cable off Amazon. You know what I mean by that, right? It's not like a plastic sheathing on the cable. It's like a braided sort of cloth coating. Those are some of the best cables for the most part. That's why like a lot of gaming mouses and stuff like just come with a braided cable these days. But yeah, no problem. Thanks for watching the stream. Okay, guys, I'm gonna get some food. I'm glad I was able to help you out, 365, and I'll probably be back. So, like, again, if you have any more questions or something, feel free. I don't mind helping, man. I'll be on something. I'll be playing something. So, yeah. But also remember, certain USB ports have certain voltages too. So, like, are you still there, 365? Now that I just thought about this, make sure you're plugging that into the back. Don't try to plug a capture card into a front USB port and think it's gonna work. It's not enough. Yeah, your front ports aren't meant for that. Plug it into the back where your motherboard is. Try to go for the very top ones. The ones on the very top are usually like your best ports. They have the best range. Yeah, it's usually how it works, top to bottom. So yeah, definitely try to plug that in the back too, not the front. And obviously not like your monitor or something like that, because that's just a port that doesn't go to your computer. Unless you have a jump cable, but I still wouldn't do that. That's bad. And definitely don't plug it into a splitter. It just doesn't work right unless you do the voltages properly. You gotta get like a block and then do it just right. It's a pain in the ass. Yeah, no problem. No problem. like I said, it could just be the USB port you're plugging into. Thanks, guys. Thank you, 365. Appreciate you guys giving me a chance here to react to this again. That's why I reacted to this, not to slam it. I was just trying to be fair. And again, I'm just trying to give you the perspective of what I see when he kind of, like, again, I really hope that he means well. I do. It's just hard to see that sometimes with, again, how he talks and acts and does things. So talk to you guys soon. Thanks again.